The percentage of one-person households in France has risen over the past 10 years. In 1989, 27% of households in France belonged to single people. In 1999, 30% of households in France belonged to single people. So, I'm just going to get back to the table here and say something like, whereas. Right? Whereas is a good sentence. So we can use something like this and say, whereas in 1989, 27% blah blah blah, in 1999, 30%. Or, has risen over the past 10 years. In other words, or in more details, in 1989, something, okay, whereas in 1999, or in comparison, because we have lots of similar words here. Take a look at this here, okay? All of these are similar in the first and second sentences. So, the percentage of one-person households in France has risen over the past 10 years. I'll leave this as it is, okay? I'm just going to leave a full stop. In 1989, 27% of households in France belong to single people, comma, in comparison to 30% in 1999. In comparison to 30% in 1999. Something like that. Okay? The enrollment of students in first degree courses has changed since last year. The biggest change has taken place in biological studies. Full stop. 9% more students have enrolled in biological studies. We have repeated words here. So you can see here that when you link sentences together, you eliminate these repetitions. 500 enrolled in biological studies this year. So, the enrollment of students in first degree courses has changed since last year. The biggest change has taken, the biggest change has taken place in the biological studies, where 9% more students have enrolled in this year, okay, in this year, or 9% of students have enrolled this year, which is about 5,000 or 55,000 students. Okay? Read the following paragraph which describes the results. Alright. Ideas could be more clearly. Okay, let's just forget about this one. Okay? And move on to the speaking module. Okay? So if you can notice, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is my beard. My beard is gone, and I am clean shaven, as you can see. No, I'm not recording this 9th session like 10 years before the first one. Okay, just shaving because the speaking module is a fun module. So, the way they choose examiners for the speaking module, okay, is they choose the cheerful ones. They choose the ones that smile all the time, and you will notice that. Moreover, and I'll have to give it to the women in this course and the examiners, women are much more cheerful than men. Sorry, guys. Almost all of the examiners I have met in the speaking module are women, and the same goes with all of my students. Every one of my students had a woman examine him or her in the IELTS test. And these examiners are well trained to be very friendly. And this is because it's very normal to be stressed in the IELTS test. On the IELTS, speaking test. I'm just going to say that you have to accept that fact. Okay? Many other teachers will say, okay, don't be stressed, try to avoid stress and all that. But I'll have to say you need to accept stress as a part of the test, where the examiners are doing their best to fight it, but, you know, just try to relax, okay? Realize that stress is a normal part of the test, and you don't need to overthink it. The IELTS test, the IELTS speaking test happens in a very separate time from the written modules. So you'll get the listening, the reading and the writing tests in a single day or one day in the morning, while the speaking test will be taken in the afternoon of the same day or the day after it, in the morning. Why? To help you ease that stress, to help you relax, alright? Enjoy, so in brief or in short, enjoy the speaking test. You don't have to frown and give really, shall we say, hard answers. Just express yourself. Let's take a look at the writing here. IELTS examiners are teachers who have been specially trained to rate spoken English on the IELTS scale. They are chosen to be helpful and encouraging so that you can do your best on the day of the test. Okay? So, you will be doing your best on the day of the test because the examiners will elicit relaxation from you, if we can say that. They know that you may be nervous, okay? But they can only assess what they hear, so they will expect you to speak up. Speak up, okay? You will never be meeting that teacher outside the IELTS test anyway, okay? You'll only be with her for 15 minutes, so just express yourself. Doesn't matter much. You don't have to be friends with the examiners. With the examiner, you don't have to choose the right words and not make her angry. Just be yourself. Be yourself. And here's something. Later on in the course, we will be talking about the IELTS speaking test in more details in 3 parts. If you don't know the answer to a question, just say that you don't know. Alright? What is the difference between secondary education in Britain and secondary education in New Zealand? I don't know. I've never been there. Okay? I think in Britain they are talking about the Queen a bit more, but in New Zealand they're talking about nature. Maybe. I think. I'm not sure. So, if you don't know the answer to a question, be yourself. Answer by saying you don't know, and then follow up with saying why you don't know it. You have never been to that place. You have never had this experience before. Right? The examiners rate your language on a scale of 1 to 9 in 4 broad areas. Okay? 1, of course, being the lowest, and 9 being almost a perfect speaker. In brief, they want to find out if you can speak fluently and link ideas coherently. Alright? So, speak without giving pauses that seem awkward. Of course, if the pause is context related, maybe you don't remember the name of the train company that carried you from London to Berlin 5 years ago. I think it's Orient Express. No, I think it's Auto Express. I'm not sure. This is totally acceptable. But if you are trying to find if your pause is related to vocabulary, all right? Yeah, you might get. Of course, okay. They will not be very strict in this marking. Okay, just the first or second times. Okay. Demonstrate a range of appropriate vocabulary, which is closely linked to the first one. Okay, so choose some good vocabulary and vary your words, and try doing that a bit quickly. We will see how we do that. Of course, use grammar and appropriate register. Use the appropriate sentences and grammar for every situation. Okay, and use the grammar correctly. Of course, your pronunciation must be clear. Speak so that you can be understood. I have met many people who are not very good speakers of English, but they can earn lots of marks in an IELTS test, in an IELTS speaking test, specifically because of the fourth point. If they can communicate their idea, if they can, shall we say, carry their idea across, okay, or they gain marks, lots of marks. So try to be clear. Don't use really overly complicated sentences that can confuse the man or actually the woman sitting in front of you, listening to you. Try to be, try to use sentences or language that is easy to understand. Let's say you're talking about a field of specialty. All right, you are specialized in electrical engineering, for example. Okay, explain what everything is, what ohm and watt and volt and ampere is. Okay, when you are talking, so that you don't lose the listener. Let's get back here and take a look at the test contents. The first part is an introduction and interview. Very straightforward, absolutely straightforward. You have the opportunity to speak about yourself. Anyone in any language, the moment you start learning a language, you learn to speak about yourself, to talk a bit about yourself, and speak on familiar topics. All right, things like what you do for a living, your job, your family, your friends, what type of food you like, what types you hate, why you like going to parties or why not. Okay, sports, activities, many types of basic conversations help you break the ice, if you will, break the ice. Okay, this helps you overcome your nervousness and helps you become familiar with the exam. They'll take about 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, not much. And then part 2 could be, in my opinion, the difficult part. Why? Because you need to give a short talk. Of course, it's short because it's 1 to 2 minutes, but these minutes can last for an eternity for the candidate, for the examinee. They can last for an eternity. And my advice to you is use your 2 minutes, all of them. All right? Try to use as much time as possible, and I will tell you how to do this. But regardless, you will be giving a short talk for 1 to 2 minutes on a topic chosen by the examiner. Right? They will give you a small slip of paper, an A5 paper. I think it's an A4. Where is my A4 paper? Okay, a sheet of A4 paper that is bent, something like this. Right? This is an A4 paper and it's bent. So this will be how large the paper is, and you will be given 2 of these. One of them will contain the questions you need to answer, and the other one is an empty sheet of paper, because you will have a minute before your speech to prepare for what you need to say. The candidate has a minute to prepare and then speaks on the topic without stopping, and the examiner will never interrupt you. Never. So the individual long term is the second part. But the third part is a two-way discussion. Alright? And it's always about the second topic. So, for example, I'm just drawing 2 long lines here. Just a moment. So these topics are always linked together. So in one of the tests I have taken, I was asked to talk about my role model. Okay, I had this exam in 2011. I was just refreshing my IELTS knowledge and all that. I had this exam in 2011. It was about a month after Steve Jobs died. So I talked about him. Then the third part was about role models in general. So they would generalize on the topic you have just talked about. If you are going to talk about your role model, they will talk, or the people you aspire to, the general conversation will be role models. Or maybe in the second one you will be talking about a restaurant you liked. So the general topic would be restaurants and why people like going there, traditional restaurants versus fast food restaurants, and which ones are people in the country more obsessed with. Okay? So this is the general or a more abstract questions that are broadly linked to the topic. So they will talk on a broader scale, a bit of a broader, wider scale. Introducing part 2, and is encouraged to engage in extensive discussion. Remember, the word extensive discussion means do not stop at or don't let close-ended questions stop you. If the examiner asks you a yes/no question, okay, you don't say yes and full stop. Okay, you say yes or no and then explain why. Let's just carry on. So let's take a look at the first part in more detail. The examiner will ask you some questions about yourself and your interests, studies or working life, maybe what you like to do in your or as a sport, what games you like. I'm talking about games like chess or backgammon, talla. Maybe how you go to work, travel, what types of, shall we say, where you like to live, or your neighbors. Okay, all of these are topics that you will be talking about. Of course, not in the same test. Just one of these topics, and then that's it. Part 1 is not linked to part 2, by the way. Only part 2 and 3 are linked. So you will reply by offering a full and appropriate response in each case. I'll tell you what this means in a while. Taking the initiative where possible. Take the initiative where possible. So if someone asks you about, say, your siblings, okay, your brother or your sister, right? Try to talk in a fuller way or in an almost well-rounded way about your brother. I'm just skipping ahead here just to show you what I mean. Okay? Let's say someone is asking you about, here we are. Do you have any brothers or sisters? Yes, just think of everything about your brother. He's studying economics in a university, he's older than me, and I have one brother. So I have an older brother, one brother, okay, an older brother who is studying economics in a university, and I also have a sister who is 5 years younger than me, okay, and she's working somewhere, right? So this is how you should make your answer well-rounded. Try your best to answer the questions before they are asked, especially about the topic itself. So when she asks about brothers or sisters, okay, give her information about the brother in a single sentence or 2 sentences. Always offer more than yes or no as an answer, as your examiner can only rate what he or she hears, and you need to make the very best of this chance to show off your skills. Use part 1 to overcome any nerves and demonstrate your basic fluency. So, if you practice very well for part 1, and if you can ace it, alright, if you can solve it very well or answer it very well, you will even overcome your nerve and have a better chance in part 2, in which you will be given a topic, which is also written on a card, an A5 piece of paper, and he'll also hand you some paper and a pencil to make notes. Okay? You don't need to bring any type of material, okay, with you in the test, and in fact, any extra belongings will be taken from you, of course, temporarily. So if you have a mobile phone or any type of device, maybe a pencil or so, just leave them outside, okay, in their specified place. Can be with the examination invigilators, the people who watch the exam and see and take care of the order, or I think it can be left in a locker with a key for you. But anyway, just leave your things outside. Everything will be given to you during that speaking test. You should think about the topic for a moment and decide how you're going to tackle it. Use the preparation time wisely by jotting down key ideas. Jot down key ideas. Don't write them completely. Alright? You have just 1 minute, so write out the main key points. Then make the talk interesting and lively. They'll invite you to discuss. Okay, so this is the second part, whereas the third part is a discussion over the second one. The examiner will invite you to discuss a number of issues broadly related in theme to part 2 topic. Alright? So give interesting and appropriate responses, alright? But there are no right or wrong answers. Try your best to make them interesting. Just interesting. How can you interest your examiner? It's by talking about your personal experiences. It's by trying to be truthful where possible. Try not to make things up. Alright? Many people will tell you to make things up, but in my opinion, if you want to be lively, just say the truth about yourself. If you don't know much about a topic, alright, say that you don't know much and say why. And then say an opinion based on what you think, not on facts. Use this part of the answer to demonstrate your control of language, ability to express, and so on. Show a willingness to provide extended replies. She might ask you closed-ended questions. Try to make them open. Okay, let's say one of the closed-ended questions is, did you like school? No, I didn't like school very much. There was this French teacher who really made me hate that language. And now I regret every moment of not learning French because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Or maybe, do you like casual clothes? Say, yes, I think I like them very much because they're very comfortable. I don't stick much to the fashion, but in my opinion, casual clothes or my favorite clothes are the ones which are comfortable and presentable, the ones that suit all tastes, and so on. Fluency in speech. Now we're talking about the first part now, in which your fluency is important, so that it can help you break the ice and prepare you for the second or third parts. Fluency in speech is the ability to maintain a flow of language without unnatural hesitation and without demanding unreasonable patience from the listener. In other words, it's the ability to keep going and includes a number of micro-strategies, such as willingness to participate and preparedness to respond fully to the questions asked by the examiner. So, if you're the quiet type, I'm sorry, you need to try and participate in more conversations than you would like. Alright? Many people are introverts, and I understand that. Alright? Extrovert. Many people are introverts. An introvert is someone who enjoys being alone. An extrovert is someone who enjoys being with others. Okay? But if you're an introvert, I'm an introvert actually, so just notice that you can enjoy talking to just one person. Alright? You will not be taking the exam with a group, just a single examiner. So try practicing at home talking in English with a single person if you're an introvert. If you're an extrovert, try finding groups that would speak English in a more, shall we say, relaxed manner. Alright? Either way, you should be willing to do your part. Okay? And by doing your part, I'm saying participate. Say something, alright, while the conversation is happening. Becoming more fluent takes practice. So try using English as often as possible with your friends, as well as with English speakers. Alright? I'm pretty sure that you can find some friends online. We are now in the information age, the digital age. I heard I saw one statistic that says that on average, you are linked to anyone in the world through 5 friendship, through 5 friends on Facebook. So your friend, the friend of your friend, of your friend, of your friend, of your friend, alright, I think that's 5, okay, could be actually anyone, absolutely anyone in this world who has a Facebook account. Alright, so you have a large network of friends over Facebook, and there are many other social networks if you're not using that particular one in which you can find good friends. There are also groups on Facebook that also are talking about the IELTS test. Regardless of the interest, you will find people who are as interested as you in this topic and try to chat with them. And if you can, alright, just try to make this chat not just in writing, okay? Try to open a conversation, a speaking conversation. Anyway, try using English. Okay, look at the table below. By the way, since we are talking about general or personal topics, okay, if you take a look here, you will find that you will be asked about very general topics that are related to you, which means that you can know more about yourself before going to the test. Okay? Just make notes, take notes about your hometown and family. Alright? Maybe what you like, or talk about your hometown. Maybe talk about how life is there, what you enjoy, maybe what you don't enjoy, and so on. All of these, I'm just taking a note here about myself, right? Of course, you can talk about your hometown and just take note of it before the test. We're talking about hobbies, what you like doing, whatever it is, okay? I'm not, as an examiner, the examiner will not be trying to look for the perfect man, right? Your hobbies can be anything that is even bad, right? Maybe you like, I don't know, I like video games. I'm a 12-year-old who plays video games all day. Who cares, right? That's hobbies. What about the favorite food? Okay, you can just eat whatever is unhealthy. Alright? Something like that. Okay? So, just know more about yourself in terms of hometown and so on. Get some sample speaking tests. Take a look at the question and take note of these questions. And take note of, or write down these questions on a piece of paper. Then note what you would say about yourself. Alright? This way you would know more about yourself, right, before the test comes. Language is spoken, right? So you speak Arabic, maybe some English here and there, okay? You can understand French, but German is a bit of a hard language, okay? And I don't know anything about Russian, all right?